I caught my younger brother stealing intimate pictures of my fiancée off my phone and then blogging about his mission to steal and conquer her. I never imagined I'd be sharing such a disturbing chapter of my life, but the weight of this secret has become unbearable. I'm a 20-year-old college basketball player, and this is the story of how my younger brother's obsession with my fiancée shattered our family forever. The events I'm about to share still haunt me, but perhaps writing them down will help me make sense of how everything went so terribly wrong. Rachel and I met during the whirlwind of our first week at college. At 21, she possesses the kind of ethereal beauty that makes time stand still, not just her physical appearance, but the way her entire being radiates warmth and grace. I still remember the exact moment I first saw her in the campus coffee shop, her dark curls catching the morning light as she ordered her usual chai latte. She dropped her student ID, and I rushed to pick it up, our hands brushing briefly. That touch sent electricity through my entire body. We connected instantly, becoming each other's first everything. That first conversation turned into hours of talking about life, dreams, and our different backgrounds. She spoke about her Jewish faith with such passion that I found myself drawn not just to her, but to the entire worldview she represented. My journey into Judaism, inspired by her faith, wasn't just about religion, it was about finding the structured, loving family environment I'd always craved. Growing up, our house was chaos incarnate. Mom worked double shifts at the hospital, while Dad's drinking problem meant he was either absent or angry. My older brother and I found escape in basketball, but Jim retreated into his own world of video games and metal music. My own family's dysfunction had left deep scars, but Rachel's world offered healing and hope. The conversion process wasn't easy, my parents never really forgave me for it. And my father even took a swing at me when I first told them, missing only because years of basketball had given me quick reflexes. But Rachel's family welcomed me with open arms, showing me what a truly supportive family could be. Her father, a respected rabbi, spent hours discussing philosophy with me, while her mother taught me traditional recipes and family customs. We may not keep strictly kosher or follow all traditions, but the values we've embraced have transformed my life. Every time we go out, heads turn in her direction. It used to kindle jealousy in my heart, watching men's eyes follow her across rooms, hearing their whispered comments about her beauty. But that emotion has evolved into a quiet pride. The admiring glances from strangers have become affirmations of my good fortune, knowing that this remarkable woman chose me. Our life together was perfect, or so I thought, until my younger brother Jim entered the picture. Fresh out of high school at 18, Jim needed a place to stay. The contrasts between us couldn't be more stark. I stand 6 feet 5 inches with an athlete's build, while he barely reaches 5 feet 9 inches and carries 230 pounds on his frame. Unlike my older brother and me, who both earned college basketball scholarships, Jim never showed interest in sports. His darker complexion against our Irish features had always fueled whispered speculation about his parentage, though we never discussed it openly. I remember overhearing Mom defending herself to Dad once, their angry whispers carrying through the thin walls of our childhood home. The metal music blasting from his room and his tendency to avoid social interaction made him seem like a stranger in our family. While my older brother and I were winning championships and earning scholarships, Jim was building elaborate fantasy worlds online, retreating further into isolation with each passing year. When he asked to move in with us in late July, I consulted Rachel first. Her generous heart didn't hesitate to welcome him, despite our apartment's modest size. "Everyone deserves a chance," she said with that warm smile that had first captured my heart. "Besides, he's family." Jim's request for help with weight loss seemed like an opportunity to bridge the gap between us. He talked about wanting to change his life, to become more like me. The admiration in his eyes when he said this touched something in me. Maybe there was hope for our relationship after all. If only I'd known what darkness lurked beneath his seemingly innocent request. The first warning sign came on an ordinary afternoon when Jim walked in on an intimate moment between Rachel and me. We'd been careless, thinking the apartment was empty, forgetting I'd recently given him his own key. The way his eyes lingered, filled with an unsettling hunger, should have alarmed me. Instead, I dismissed it as mere embarrassment, even apologized to him. Looking back, I wonder if he'd been listening to our passionate moments at night, timing his movements to our music. We often played Weezer albums during our intimate times. The thought of him pressing his ear against the wall, fantasizing about my fiancée, makes me physically ill now. A week later, Jim's questions about sexting raised no red flags. He approached me with what seemed like genuine curiosity, claiming a girl was offering to send pictures. "How do you handle that kind of situation?" he asked, seeking my advice as his older brother. His eyes had an intensity one should have recognized, but at the time, I was just happy he was confiding in me. I shared my experiences cautiously, warning him never to pressure anyone or share private images. "These things require trust and respect," I told him, not realizing the irony of my words. Once you break that trust, you can never get it back. 2 days later, he asked about condoms, making an uncomfortable observation about my own intimate life with Rachel. You weren't wearing one that time, he said, his eyes showing a glint I should have recognized as dangerous. Though his comment about noticing my state of undress during the walk-in incident unsettled me, I chose to believe his stammered explanation. I didn't mean to look, it was just obvious when you jumped up. His voice had a tremor that I mistook for embarrassment rather than the excitement it probably was. Being the supportive brother, I bought him condoms, explained about testing and protection, even took him for an HPV vaccine. The nurse at the clinic commented on what a good brother I was, how lucky Jim was to have me looking out for him. I lectured him about safe sex, knowing I was being hypocritical given my own choices with Rachel, but feeling responsible for his sexual education. If I ever find out you didn't use protection, I warned him, I'll beat the crap out of you. If only I'd recognized these conversations for what they were, calculated steps in his disturbing plan. The truth exploded into our lives when my phone disappeared. Searching frantically through the apartment, I entered Jim's room to find him suspiciously guarding something under his blanket. The room reeked of unwashed clothes and stale air, posters of metal bands covering every inch of wall space. What I discovered beneath those covers turned my world upside down. My own phone, filled with intimate photos and videos Rachel had sent during my basketball trips. Jim had been systematically emailing these private moments to himself, collecting them like trophies. My hands shook as I scrolled through his email, each message a new violation of our privacy. The horror deepened when I found Rachel's bra hidden under his bed, along with several other items I recognized as missing from our laundry. But the true extent of his obsession revealed itself on his laptop, a blog where he detailed his twisted mission to steal Rachel from me. His posts read like a deranged fantasy novel, mixing real-life details with fabricated conquests. LOL, she looks so miserable with him, he wrote. I screwed her good when she got done with that loser. He even bragged about using the condoms I'd bought him, turning my attempt at brotherly guidance into part of his sick narrative. Each post was timestamped, showing how his obsession had grown more intense over the months. The blog featured stolen Facebook photos, including Rachel in a bikini from our beach trip last summer, and professional shots from our friend's dress design website. He had created entire storylines around each image, weaving elaborate fantasies about their fictional relationship. But what chilled me to the bone was finding a letter addressed to Rachel, filled with delusional declarations of love and vicious attacks on my character. He doesn't deserve you, the letter read. He's weak, pathetic, living off his basketball scholarship while I could give you real love, real passion. I've watched how you move, how you smile, how you brush your hair behind your ear when you're nervous. I know you better than he ever will. The level of obsession and hatred in those words made my blood run cold. My hands trembled with rage as I confronted him. How could you? I demanded, shoving the laptop in his face. She's my fiance, your future sister-in-law. Jim's face contorted between fear and defiance. You don't appreciate her, he spat back. I see how she looks at me when you're not around. The way she smiles, the way she laughs at my jokes. She's just too afraid to admit her true feelings. The delusion in his eyes scared me more than his words. This wasn't just teenage lust or misplaced attraction, this was something far more dangerous. Acting swiftly, I wiped his hard drive, checked his phone, and threw him out with $200, enough to survive but clear message that he wasn't welcome anymore. Delete everything, I warned him, my voice shaking with barely contained rage. If I find out you've kept a single photo, if you try to contact her in any way, I'll tell Mom and Dad everything. And then I'll go to the police. The hardest part was telling Rachel, watching tears stream down her face as she processed this violation of her privacy and trust. I feel so dirty, she sobbed, scrubbing at her skin as if trying to wash away his virtual touch. Like he's been watching me this whole time, like nowhere is safe anymore. The aftermath left deep scars. Rachel, once confident and carefree, became jumpy and afraid. She couldn't bear to be alone in our apartment, following me to basketball practice, school, everywhere. Simple things became ordeals. She'd check every room before using the bathroom, triple lock all doors and windows at night. It took days to realize she feared Jim still had a key, a thought that made me sick to my stomach. I changed the locks the night I kicked him out, I assured her, holding her trembling form. He can never get in here again. Her weekly therapy sessions helped, but the vibrant woman I fell in love with had been temporarily dimmed by my own brother's actions. Sometimes I'd catch her staring at her reflection, as if trying to see what Jim had seen, what had triggered his obsession. When we finally confronted my parents, their reaction twisted the knife deeper. We sat in their living room, the same space where we'd shared so many family moments, now tainted by this betrayal. Family photos lined the walls, basketball tournaments, graduation ceremonies, forced holiday smiles. Jim had been sent to my uncle's house for the conversation. As I explained everything, showing them printed evidence of Jim's blog posts, my mother's face crumpled while my father's grew stormy. The same father who had tried to hit me over my religious conversion now sat in stunned silence at his younger son's actions. He's already confessed everything to us, my mother revealed, surprising me. He's started therapy, going twice a week. But then came the blow I hadn't expected. Despite Jim confessing everything, they chose to stand by him, refusing to attend our wedding if he wasn't included. We want our whole family there, my mother pleaded, tears streaming down her face. You'll regret not having him there for the rest of your lives. He's sick, he needs help, but he's still your brother. He makes Rachel feel unsafe, I argued, my voice rising with frustration. He violated her privacy, stole her personal items, fantasized about. I couldn't even finish the sentence. When they turned to Rachel, asking if this was true, her quiet yes seemed to echo through the room. Yet still they insisted, claiming they needed to support Jim too. Their words, "We need to support Jim too," felt like a betrayal all over again. Even though they apologized to Rachel for raising someone capable of such actions, their insistence on Jim's presence at our wedding showed where their loyalties truly lay. The same parents who had rejected my choice of faith now defended my brother's obsessive behavior. The compromise we reached feels hollow, monthly supervised meetings with Jim, starting after the wedding, in public places with strict rules. I laid out the terms via text. 1. We meet in public only. 2. Any inappropriate comments and I leave immediately. 3. No lying. 4. Absolutely no contact with Rachel. Each point felt like another nail in the coffin of our brotherhood. I told him bluntly that he'd lost my love and would have to work to earn even a fraction of my trust back. His simple text response, "I understand. I'm so sorry," seemed inadequate against the magnitude of his actions. 3 words couldn't erase months of violation and betrayal. Our wedding will be smaller now, more intimate. My older brother, returning from overseas where he's been playing professional basketball, stands as the only family member who truly grasped the severity of Jim's betrayal. This isn't just some family squabble, he told our parents, his voice carrying the weight of the protective older brother I'd always admired. What Jim did was predatory and dangerous. He needs help, yes, but that doesn't mean we force his victim to face him on her wedding day. He'll be there to support us, and afterward, Rachel and I will spend a year abroad with him, a chance to heal and rebuild away from the shadows of the past. Sometimes I wonder if distance is the only way to truly move forward. Late at night, when the house is quiet and Rachel sleeps beside me, I still grapple with unanswered questions. Could I have seen the signs earlier? Should I have protected her better? The weight of guilt sometimes feels overwhelming. But then Rachel stirs, reaching for my hand even in sleep, and I remember what matters most, the love we've built, the trust we're rebuilding, and the family we choose to create together. Her strength in facing this trauma amazes me daily. This experience has taught me that family isn't just about blood, it's about trust, respect, and understanding. Sometimes the hardest decisions we make are the ones that protect the family we choose, rather than the one we're born into. As we move forward, Rachel and I carry the scars of this betrayal, but we also carry hope. Hope that time will heal wounds, that distance will bring perspective, and that love, real, honest, protective love, will always triumph over obsession and deceit. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear, we'll face it together, stronger for having weathered this storm. Rachel's strength amazes me daily, and though the shadows of Jim's betrayal may linger, they can't dim the light of the life we're building together. Sometimes family isn't what you're born into, but what you choose to create, and we've chosen to create something beautiful from the ashes of betrayal. Looking back now, I realized that the brother I thought I knew never really existed. The Jim I remember from childhood, the quiet kid who used to beg me to play video games with him, who cried when I left for college, was perhaps just as much a fantasy as the relationship he imagined with Rachel. But while that realization brings its own kind of grief, it also brings clarity. We can't choose our blood relations, but we can choose how to respond when they hurt us. Rachel and I have chosen to prioritize healing over harmony, truth over false peace. And in that choice, we've found a strength neither of us knew we possessed.